Hey guys, welcome back. So here in a little bit, I'm going to get the rear brakes done on the car. But in the meantime, I have a few more things left to button up on the engine. I had a shipment of parts come in from Summit. And one of the things that I kind of got lucky, but I also didn't, is that I was missing a lot when I got this car and this engine. And what that did for me is it allowed me to buy some components that I normally wouldn't have. Like I got chrome alternator brackets. I got a brand new power steering pump bracket. And that's saving me a lot of time because I'm not trying to clean up and paint old parts. I can just slap these on. So what I want to do is start getting everything on, get everything mocked up, because in my opinion, the more I can do with the engine here, the better I'm going to be once it's in and I'm not leaned over everything. So at any rate, that's what I got going on. I'm gonna get my tools ready, get everything set up, and let's start putting on some parts. I can't find my wrench. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's what we got going on. I'm in the process of getting my alternator on, and this is super simple, very straightforward. I went ahead and put both bolts in to hold this bracket for the time being. I have to take this bolt back out so I can put my tensioner arm on, but I wanted to just go ahead and get everything started so I can kind of show y'all what I got going on here. So yeah, so you got these two spacers. This is really straightforward. Make sure your alternator is on the outside of this bracket right here. And then go ahead, I just got everything started. Next, I'm going to take this bottom one back out. And like I said, I only do it this way just so that I don't have to worry about anything falling or anything crazy like that. That way I know this is at least started and this one is nice and tight. Probably shouldn't have tightened this one up as much as I did, but what can you do? I don't know how y'all like to do things. I mean, if you like a lot of chrome, if you like just a little bit of chrome, I like to have, let's see if I get lucky. I never get lucky. I like to have a little bit of chrome, but not so much that it looks like I'm, putting together a 65 Impala, but just enough to kind of give it a little bit of a pop. And I think, we got the chrome brackets here. I went with the chrome valve covers, the real pretty carburetor, and my chrome air cleaner for now. I think it just kind of gives it a nice little, look overall. So super happy with how this is looking. I don't have a bolt for the alternator, for the tensioner portion of it, but I'm gonna have to find one. I'm sure I have something laying around here somewhere. Well, that is, Felt like it was getting a little bit too snug, and usually when that happens, things go wrong, but I guess I was just being a little bit too cautious. But I'd rather be too cautious than not enough, so. Almost there. Much better. Another thing I didn't realize is that I don't have belts for this yet, so I got to get some of them too. All right, so at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and find a bolt that fits this, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to my power steering pump. Yeah, looks good. All right, guys, so I've been out here for way too long. As you can see, I still only have the alternator on. And the reason for it is that I bought this universal power steering pump bracket off of Summit and our brand new power steering pump. And no matter which combination of bolt holes I use and spacers and bolts and washers, I can't get it to line up. I can't get anything to work right. So I'm like this close to saying, screw it, manual steering. And because I know that'll work. So I don't even know what to do right now. I know that I know that once I get the engine in and running, that I can come back to this part right here, because there should be room to try to hopefully maybe figure it out. But as of right now, I'm just completely stumped. So if you've ever used one of these successfully and you know what to do, please do me a favor and tell me. So whatever, on to something else. I'm burnt out. All right, so here's what we got going on. First, I made a mistake with this. So the mustache. Anyways, we'll tackle that some other time. So I ran up to the hardware store. I got new engine mount bolts in. So I went ahead and tightened the engine mounts up. As you can see, I went ahead and took the air cleaner off. I got it taped up. I got all of my wires taped and marked. And basically, I'm just getting the final couple things ready to put the engine back in. Now, where we left off was that stupid power steering pump. So the bracket, I had a brain fart. The bracket is a universal Chrysler bracket. For whatever stupid reason, I just assumed that it should have come with everything it needed as far as spacers and washers and whatnot. But I posted a picture of it in a Mopar group that I'm in on the old Facebook, and asking if anybody had used one, and this guy commented on it, and he was like, yeah, and he sent me pictures, and I just saw all the washers stacked up, and I'm like, of course, I'm an idiot. But I then asked him, I said, hey, question, do you happen to have a spare pulley? Because as y'all saw, I needed a pulley. And let me show y'all what he did. His name is Jeff, and he just sent me a Borgeson power steering pump. And not only did he send me the power steering pump, guys, he made sure the pulley was on there ready to go. And the same bracket that I have, he already went ahead and mounted it to the back of the pump for me. So all I got to do now is get the spacers and the washers and throw this thing on, and what took me over an hour trying to figure out is now going to take me 5 minutes. So Jeff, if you're watching, thank you so much for your contribution and sending me this. You're just a lifesaver right now, and I truly appreciate everything. So let me go ahead and get this unpackaged, grab my tools, and we're going to go ahead and get this on and then finish, buttoning up the last couple little things. Oh, quick, I want to let you know, I actually even remembered to get a new water temp sending unit plug thing. So anyways, so that's on. I put that on. I mean, it's half-inch socket, whatever. Didn't think it was that important, but yeah. So this is what we got going on. We are just chugging along, getting closer and closer to the finish line. So yeah, let's get to work. This is what caused me so much grief, was that I just did not know how everything was supposed to line up, and I wasn't using enough spacers. Washers, I guess I should say, but technically being used as a spacer. So, I went ahead and just started these bolts. I'm gonna have to torque these down, but I just want to get them snug. But yeah, literally, I'm not joking, guys. This one stupid thing, I spent over an hour trying to figure out why I couldn't get it to go. And when I say 5 minutes, I should have just said 2, because literally all I did was just get the bolt ran through, put the washers and that back spacer on, thread it in, and it's done. So it lines up. It lines up perfect, and it's done. So, all right, let's go ahead and finish getting everything tidied up here. Get my chain hooked up, and yeah, engine will be ready to go. I'm happy. All right, guys. So, well, hold on. It's getting hot, so I had to flip my hat around into the you know, cool you off mode. So here's what we got going on, okay? So I put some tape around my oil pressure sending unit because that's something I previously forgot to do. Got it in, double checked all my bolts. I double checked the tightness of my intake bolts. I got the chain on, as you can see. Now Joe told me, he said, don't go buy a 30-foot chain because the internet will never forgive you. I bought a 10-foot chain and I was like, oh man, because he was like, all you need is like, you know, 4 feet to go from there to there. But I have really bad luck. So what I did was right here is where I bolted the chain down, and then I took the excess and I wrapped it around my crank pulley. And on the back side, let me go, sorry, a little impromptu, not very professional, but whatever. So then on the back side, I put one here, and this will be the main lifting point. And then if something was to happen, we have this to fall back on. And then I got all my chain right here. So I have to go into town because remember earlier I told y'all that I forgot to put my my thermostat in. So the thermostat's in, and because of it, I need to go get another gasket, get that cleaned up, and then I'll have that back on. So at this point, oh, also, sorry, I'm rambling, whatever. I measured, quote unquote, measured for my belts. And what I did was I took just some, you know, some blue painter's tape, and then I wrapped it around the pulleys so that I can take this into town and just get a belt that's the exact same, you know, length, because I don't know. I'm sure I could have looked these up, but you know, whatever. Took me 2 minutes. So at any rate, I got to run into town, and then, like I said, I'm going to get another gasket, get my belts, and then when I come back, we'll get the belts on, we'll get the gasket back in, get the thermostat in, and then I'm going to go ahead and just double check everything one last time. And then at this point, I truly believe the engine is ready to go in. So let's go take a little drive. I just got back from the parts store. Got a couple of Duralast belts, and we're gonna hope that they fit. I brought my tape with me, and everything appeared to be all right. But, yep, this one's too long. Well, it looks like I'm going back to the parts store. So this one's too long. You know, and when I was in there and I was comparing it, I thought, you know what, this seems like it's too long. But I knew that I had my alternator all the way down, so I thought, well, maybe there's enough travel for it to tighten up. But let's see what this one is like, shall we? Oh, yeah. Okay, so good news. The power steering pump fits. The power steering belt fits nicely. I guess I'll go like just to show y'all. So, that's on there. That's nice. This one does not. So, I guess I'll be back. All right, guys. So, I want to show y'all something. Now, if you are an eagle-eyed Mopar expert, you're going to realize that this belt that I put right here from my alternator to my crank, you're probably thinking to yourself, that's not the way this goes. Well, here's the deal. This was an air conditioning car, and the pulleys were completely different because it had your compressor in it, right? Well, what I'm doing is I'm actually having to space the pulley for my water pump out. So I got spacers that I made, and I'm going from the alternator to the crank, and then I'm going to go from the crank to the water pump to the power steering. So I had to get some measurements. I had to make a bunch of trips back and forth to town, getting longer grade 8 bolts because these ones are now too short. But at any rate, I got everything. I believe I have everything now. So I'm going to go ahead and get the pulley put on and get my fan clutch put back on. And then once I'm done with that, I don't know what I'm going to do. So this is another one of these instances where I came out here this morning and I thought to myself, I'm going to be done in 2 hours. And it's now like creeping up on 5 o'clock, and I've been at this all day just trying to get everything finished up and having to go all the way into town and all the way back numerous times to get parts and whatnot. So let me get this done and then I will be right back. As you can see, I got the fan on and it was a pain in the butt because of that spacer trying to put the pulley on. The pulley sits, there's like that where the shaft of the water pump that comes through. The pulley still sits, the internal opening still sits onto that shaft a little bit, but it's not enough to where the pulley would stay up on its own. So I needed like 4 more sets of hands than what I had, and it just was a nightmare. But here's where we're at now. The engine is now 100% ready to go back in. Everything that I needed to get done with this, let me put this out of the way, is now done. Now, with that being said, I wanted to get the rear brakes done in this episode also, but you know, like usual, my ambition level is higher than my capability level. So, you know, it's all right. I'd rather run out of time than run out of talent. So here's where we're at. And I think on the next episode, well, for one, unless we get really bad weather, the only thing that makes sense to me to do now is to get that engine in. So yeah, that's where we're at. We are like this close to running. Also, my wiring harness is in this box, came in from Classic Industry. I think I mentioned that earlier. So I have my battery, I have a battery tray, I have all my cables, I have every single thing I need. So the only thing I got left to do is I got to clean up that steering wheel, get it painted, the column and everything. I got the dash over right there. It's ready to go back in. So I'm going to get the metal dash in. I'm going to get the column in. That way I can get all my wiring and everything hooked back up so we can use the key to start this thing. So yeah, I'm super happy. I mean, you know, we are done. We are ready to set this engine, and I couldn't be more happy about it. So, you know, until next time, guys, you know, again, I really appreciate each and every one of you. My channel is just growing and growing, and I'm just getting all kinds of feedback and comments now. So I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great week. And until next time, that's where we're at.